Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's latest update on the likely blockbuster winter storm coming next week. So, looking at the latest GFS model run, the snow is going to start as early as Monday night, where we're going to be starting to see some light snow push into the northern Rockies and northern Washington state. As we go into the overnight Monday, we're going to be seeing a powerful low pressure system move across southwest Canada, bringing heavy snow to much of Montana, into northern Idaho, and even the western Dakotas. As we go into Tuesday morning, we're going to be likely seeing widespread snow across western Oregon and Washington state, including the coastal areas, including Portland and Seattle. And as we go into Tuesday evening, heavy snow is going to spread across the Great Basin into areas like California, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming. Going into uh, Wednesday morning, we're going to be seeing very heavy snow push across the entire Great Basin as our low pressure continues to move across the four corners. Going into Wednesday afternoon, we could be seeing widespread snow all across the western third of the country and continuing across coastal Oregon and Washington, even into much of coastal northwestern California, as we start to see heavy snow fall across the northern plains into Minnesota. An ice storm is looking more and more likely by Wednesday afternoon across portions of Iowa, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, southern Michigan. Going into uh, Wednesday night, the snow is going to taper off across the west, but we're going to be seeing widespread heavy snow across the Great Lakes, Minnesota, the Dakotas, into Nebraska, with a heavy icing event across the southern Great Lakes into portions of Pennsylvania by Wednesday night. Going into Thursday morning, we're going to be seeing the second potent low pressure move across the northern plains and upper Midwest, bringing likely blizzard conditions across most of Minnesota, Wisconsin, upper peninsula of Michigan, and northern Iowa by Thursday, and with a heavy ice storm continuing across the rest of these areas into the northeast. And going into Thursday afternoon, we're still going to be seeing heavy snow across the Great Lakes. And then we're going to see one final push of snow across the Northeast Thursday night before the storm exits Friday morning. Now, looking at the latest snowfall accumulations in the GFS model, um, looking at the 18Z run, the latest run, we're going to be seeing as continuing to see widespread, very heavy snow accumulations with 2 to 4 feet in the mountainous areas of the west, about 6 inches to 2 feet in the valleys, and then across areas like Montana and Wyoming, widespread snowfall accumulations of 1 to 2 feet across South Dakota, southern central Minnesota. This includes Minneapolis. We could be seeing as much as 2 feet of snow from this, and then about a, a foot to 2 feet across much of Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and going into northern New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, about 1 to 1.5 feet, and then Maine about 6 inches to a foot of snow, according to the latest run of the GFS model. Looking at the European model for a cross check, the European model is continuing to show the same thing as the GFS has. This is for the third day, or actually the sixth day in a row, that these models have been agreeing on a blockbuster snow event across the country. So the more we keep seeing this, the more likely this is going to happen. And the European model is giving areas such as Minneapolis as much as 26 inches of snow from this. And looking at the Canadian model, the Canadian model is going crazy across the northern plains, putting as much as 2 to 3 feet of snow in areas across the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now, we're getting close enough to the storm that I'm going to start showing you some possible ice accumulations, but take this with a grain of salt as we're still about 3 days out from any ice accumulations or from any ice storm. Now, looking at these preliminary ice accumulations across the upper Midwest and the Northeast, we could be seeing a stripe of quarter to a half an inch of ice across Iowa, northern Illinois, southern Michigan. Could be seeing as much as half an inch to even an inch of freezing rain. This would be absolutely devastating if this were to happen. And then the Northeast, about a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch, with areas of New York and Pennsylvania potentially seeing up to a half an inch of freezing rain accumulation. So I'm going to really keep my eye on this freezing rain potential, as well as the snow, and unfortunately the severe weather as well. The Storm Prediction Center is maintaining a slight risk of severe weather across much of Arkansas, southwest Tennessee, northwest Mississippi, northern Louisiana, and northeast Texas for next Wednesday. So this storm is going to bring everything from snow to ice to severe weather. So make sure you are preparing for said storm mode if you live in the areas I mentioned in the video. Thanks for watching this evening's winter weather update, and have a wonderful evening, my friends.